now to my final topic. The African Union Commission and EUMETSAT have joined forces to bolster Earth observation capabilities across the African continent.
EUMETSAT satellites are able to monitor specific regions such as Europe or Africa through our geostationary data, and also globally all the regions of the globe through our low Earth orbit satellites. EUMETSAT satellite data support the IPCC report through direct use by climate models to reconstruct the last 30-40 years of the Earth climate, or through specific products such as the sea ice extent over the Arctic as an example. They are providing important information to the IPCC report.
Without understanding how nature reacts to what we are doing, we will have real difficulties changing the course of the climate change that we're responsible for.
Signed recently, the agreement aims to leverage the advanced meteorological satellite technology of EUMETSAT and the strategic leadership of the African Union to provide critical data for weather forecasting and disaster risk reduction. Well, for more on this, I'm now being joined by Paul Cornett in Darmstadt, Germany. Paul is the head of strategy, communications and international relations at EUMETSAT. Mr. Paul Cornett, thank you so much for joining me on Channel's Business Global. Please talk to us about the significance of this agreement.
So the agreement between the African Union Commission and EUMETSAT is indeed an important one because it's linking the African Union Commission, so representing all African countries, with 30 member states of EUMETSAT in Europe. And I should say that this agreement is the result of long-lasting relationships between EUMETSAT and Africa. So we have a satellite which is over Africa. There is a purpose for us to work with Africa. And we started at the beginning of the year 2000. So in 2018, we had a first formal agreement with the African Union Commission. And what we signed last week is the update and the continuation of this agreement. And the purpose of this agreement is really to set the frame of cooperation between the African Union and our organization, so EUMETSAT, which is responsible for exploiting and monitoring the European meteorological satellites, which are also observing climate data.
It's all very exciting. In fact, the whole idea of space observation or space exploration has really captivated the masses in recent years. You've spoken very briefly about climate. Is that the only observation of this satellite, or will there be other areas of interest?
No, the primary observation of the satellite is weather. So we observe Africa every 10 minutes with this new satellite in different channels, and we have a commitment to deliver this data to all the national weather services in Africa. And this is brand new. So this satellite was launched. It's the first of the third generation. It was launched in December 2022. And it's a big improvement in the way we can observe the weather above Africa, and the data that we deliver helps the national weather services in making weather forecasts. So this is the main purpose of the satellite.
Yes, and it's absolutely fundamental, of course, because we know that climate change, massive topic of discussion, and Africa is bearing the brunt of extreme weather patterns. I know this is a new partnership, although the relationship between your firm and the African Union does go back some years now. What role, Mr. Cornett, have African scientists and meteorologists played in this collaborative effort?
They are absolutely essential because what we do, we deliver data. And what we need is scientists to make use of the data and to turn the data into relevant products and into relevant information which could support decision makers. And therefore, we work a lot with institutions in training activities or in partnership activities on doing research on the use of the data in many different fields. So the weather is one, but the data could also be used for monitoring the agriculture, monitoring the forest. We can see the fires from Meteosat third generation, and therefore it's very important. So you could see that we could cover a very broad scope of applications from data which are essentially weather-based data, weather observation data.
Absolutely. Collating the data is one thing, but then it's also what's being done with the data. Can you talk to me about how you think this cooperation is going to align with the African Union's Commission's Sustainable Development Goals and also plans to mitigate against climate change?
It's perfectly aligned because this cooperation is recognized in different formal documents of the African Union. The African Ministerial Council for Meteorology has an African strategy for space, and there the cooperation with EUMETSAT is highly recognized. And this African strategy for meteorology is linked to the Agenda 2063 of the African Union Commission. So we are definitively supporting the climate goals that are embedded in the Agenda 2063. And this is why having this formal relationship between our intergovernmental organization and the AUC is so important to us.
Absolutely, it is important. Thank you so much for your expert insights there, Mr. Paul Canet, who is the Head of Strategy, Communications and International Relations at EUMETSAT. Thank you so much for your time today.
Most welcome. Thank you.
Well, Sam.